Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So, I hope all of you are having a great day. And don't worry even if you're not, because the next 1 hour is gonna be a very exciting ride of fun and learning. Now, I welcome you all to the Prime Career Mantras exclusive webinar series on FutureSkills Prime, which is a joint initiative by Ministry of Electronics and Technology and Nasscom. So, okay. I am Niharika Chadha from Chennai Institute of Technology, a tech enthusiast currently pursuing electronics and communication. So, Future Skills Prime and Open Weaver have been my best buddies in college, their excellent courses and webinars, hands-on projects and tech experience. So, and today I'm very delighted to moderate a webinar about generative AI in collaboration with these two organizations. So, what is generative AI? Have you heard of generative AI? So let's answer. I would really want to know with this quick poll. Okay. So yeah, most of you have tried ChatGPT, right? So now, what did you use ChatGPT most for? Like, is it during online exams or for coding, debugging, or did you use it? Is there anything else that you've used ChatGPT for? Interesting. So most of you have used it for content, and 70% of you use it for others. So yeah, ChatGPT is not only for assignments, coding, content. It can do so much more. So generative AI can create anything you want. Uh, you will train it on. It can convert satellite images into realistic map views. It can convert X-rays, CT scans into realistic images, which will be very helpful in diagnosis. It can create music, images. In fact, it can create an entire movie of your imagination. And even in fashion industry, those sketches can be converted into more realistic models. It can do legal contracts. So I can't think of an industry that ChatGPT or generative AI cannot influence. So here's a fun question for you all. So if you can have a conversation with a famous person who passed away, who would you choose? Okay, so most of you want to talk to Abdul Kalam, sir. That's really, really interesting. So did you know that using generative AI, you can actually create a model, 3D model. If we train the generative AI with Abdul Kalam sir's videos and audio, it can create a very realistic model, the same 3D model and audio as well with similar voice. So AI is very powerful. It's more powerful than we can ever assume. So while all these big tech companies and us developers are celebrating generative AI as it makes our lives a lot more easier and better, and governments are busy framing new regulations to ensure this extremely powerful technology will not be misused. In fact, few of you might know recently Italy banned ChatGPT. So my next question. So if you think generative AI is very powerful, don't you think it will replace all our jobs? interesting. So most of you have chosen that it might not. So I'll share you why this is. And so when I asked ChatGPT, which color do you think my 50-year-old client might like? So this is the answer it gave me. So ChatGPT does not have the critical thinking or creativity and other emotional abilities that humans have. These abilities only humans possesses. And in fact, I asked ChatGPT if yeah. So I asked ChatGPT if it can list down 100 career opportunities generative AI might create. So and here it goes. Okay, there was a small problem with my presentation. Just a second.
No worries, it loads on the screen.
Yep. And the list goes on and on and on. From fintechs to health industry. So there isn't literally any industry that generative AI will not influence. So you can see so you can see that every industry is influenced by generative AI. So
no worries. And it seems that generative AI is giving us issues right now, which shows one of its drawbacks. But thank you, Niharika. This was great. And it is an amazing setting context to the session. And can we have our expert now so that we can start learning?
Absolutely. Thank you, Amrita, for calling me along. And hey, everyone, welcome to this session on generative AI, where we will discuss what generative AI is. Niharika already showcased us some interesting prompts and what all, ChatGPT could or couldn't do. So we'll just quickly go ahead and check out some concepts of our session today. So first of all, we'll talk what generative AI is. But even before we go ahead and discuss the interesting tool, ChatGPT, what architecture it is built on, all these technical concepts we go ahead and discuss. Before that, I would like to showcase you an interesting demo of the same. So a demo of what you're going to build yourself today. So that will be something interesting. So this is going to be your use case today. And within this use case, we have simply drawn a very simple interface so that anyone who's following alongside with me with couple of clicks, they're also able to set this kit onto their systems and use ChatGPT onto their systems. Likewise, the servers get loaded whenever you have, a lot of people using ChatGPT. There are chances that you may not be able to use it on their server. So why not use it on your own machine, right? So I'll just quickly pick up an interesting prompt, or let's say a query that I can pass on to it and see how it can help me create context and information content good enough that will help me, use it directly onto my platform. So I've just given a very, very quick prompt to it saying, create a Twitter post for OpenWeaver, saying, winning an award at the Nasscom events for the best SME. Let's see what kind of a response it will generate. Okay. So you saw that not just, putting it around with we are over the moon, blah, 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 with at the rate, but it is also adding its own emojis as per as per its understanding that this is based on some recognition, some award that has been received. There is a hashtag also given to the events, something like this. So you can directly use it onto the platform. This is just one simple prompt that I have created. So let's now get into how you can set this kit onto your systems as well. So the reason is, as we will set this kit onto our systems, we will discuss the concepts in the meanwhile. So for that, you just have to go ahead and get this link in the chat. I hope you guys are able to see. There is this link that you have to go and click. You have this page specifically created for this session. So just scroll down and you will see that apart from this video, we'll discuss what this video and how this video is going to augment the current knowledge that we are going to discuss. Within your hands-on learning, you will see that there is a Candy one-click kit button available. Go ahead and please click on it. This takes you to a kit page. What is this kit? This kit is the one that I just showcased to you. So you can simply follow the deployment information here. If you would like to set it up on any other systems apart from Windows, you can set it up by checking these instructions. So for now, I will demo it by clicking on this one-click installer. This will download a zip file onto my local systems. Important to notice that this is a zip file. So extract all the contents of this file before you quickly start, setting it up onto your systems. So as I unzip it, I will have this batch file. Double click this batch file. If you would like, you can also scan it before going ahead and following these instructions. Say more info, run anyway. What this will do, it will start setting up this kit directly onto your systems. This way, you will have all the dependencies, libraries, the repository that I just used onto your systems. So you don't have to explicitly go set up things, environment, anything you don't have. A lot of things that you may need to do. We would try to set all of that onto your systems directly. So let this setup happen. In the meanwhile, we will discuss the concepts of today's session. So we want to talk about generative AI. So we saw that, okay, machine learning has been here, artificial intelligence has been here. But before we even discuss what this, what is different in this generative AI, artificial intelligence, I would quickly want to ask you through a poll, what is your understanding, what level you are on with your understanding of generative AI? Let's have a polling question, please. Okay. Polling question on generative AI is what will help me know what audience I am working around with. Okay, we already have the results as well. This is from the previous question. So we'll briefly discuss okay, we have it here. So what understanding would you give of generative AI? Based on that, we can take the session forward accordingly. And I'll also have your expectations from the session set. Okay, let's see the results. Interesting. So we have a lot of beginner people, and then with that, we actually will talk accordingly. So first of all, to make you understand, it is a field which is using neural networks, or let's say if you know what machine learning is, we are trying to train the machine in a way that it behaves like humans. We've been hearing this for a while. So what difference does generative AI makes? So it tries to make a context, or it tries to get two neural networks or two models within to play a game which is a sum, sum zero. Either it's a zero, either it's a reward game, wherein either one machine will, contest with another machine in a way that one model will, win and another will lose. So we use 2 neural networks minimum here, and we try to train the model in a way that it will generate original content every time. Even if you give the similar query, it will try to generate a content which is different from what it had previously created. So that is what has revolutionized, the things now. If you see, generative AI has changed the way we work. We have this amazing tool that we will also discuss today, and we also set it onto our systems and see its power. But you can not only use it, as we mentioned, to do coding, to do things in the computer science field, but you can also generate, images from it, arts from it. You can have lyrics created from it. You can use it to create rap music. You can use it for data synthesis, content creating, marketing, for creating, everything around your businesses with generative AI. So we have a notable system called ChatGPT, which is very popular. But then there is Bard, which is also trying to compete, introduced by Google, and it uses the Lambda model, which is again a large language model. So apart from just generating textual content, we have interesting Stable Diffusion and DALL-E models as well. So these are another generative AI models which are able to generate images, which are able to give you, interesting graphical outputs. And every time when they generate an image, that image is unique. With the same prompt, with the same query, you will get a different image. So that's the most interesting part of generative AI that we would like to discuss today. So we'll just quickly go through the evolution, which has made us to discuss this interesting concept. We saw that, reaching a huge customer base, user base is what these different digital platforms seek, and that's how they provocate their power. So ChatGPT could match the same power in just 5 days. So there's nothing, not even Instagram that could compete with ChatGPT and its success and the usability that it provides. It was developed by OpenAI, and it came in November 2022. The interesting part is it is built on the generative pre-trained transformer model, and this GPT-3 that we say today, GPT-3 3.5, this has not just one, but various text code Da Vinci models. So what are these various text code Da Vinci models? We'll talk a bit on the architecture part of this later to give you a little brief on how it works. In fact, this GPT-3 architecture set that it worked on, to be precise, it's 3.5, it got trained on 175 billion parameters. So you could imagine the massive data, the massive, features, parameters that this model could consume, and that's how it is able to give us amazing, unique responses. So we go ahead. I would now also want you to give an answer on another interesting polling question that we go ahead with to check out your views as we go through this session. Okay, so I just discussed quickly, just to see how many of you are able to follow through what I am saying in the session. Let's see how many of you get it correct. Okay. Let's check the answer. Okay, interestingly, 60% of the people are awakened and they are actually following well with the session. Thank you. So talking about ChatGPT, all of us say it's a large language model. What is this large language model? So the training data set that it has been used, it's massive. That is one thing. But the architecture set that has been built is completely different. Okay. So not a lot has been exposed by OpenAI, but whatever they have discussed, we'll talk a little on that part. And then how using the text, it is also trying to generate human-like responses, which feel like we are communicating to, another human, which is able to understand context, which is able to retain history. So very important to note, if I have put up a query, first prompt saying, okay, ChatGPT, help me create this post on Twitter, blah, 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 about 2 companies. If I say, can you create a LinkedIn post for the above, or if you can you also create a LinkedIn post? It won't even need any context that I had already given it. So it retains history of the conversation. So that is the most powerful part of ChatGPT as well. If we talk about this generative model, it is able to know what previous conversation it was having with you. And that's how it is making things interesting for us. So we'll check out what all different you can do with ChatGPT. So you can have language generation. Obviously, it can talk to you, interact with you in a similar context. It can answer multiple different queries for you in all sorts of area. It can complete your text. Okay. So the interesting part is you don't even have to complete your query. It can complete the query for you as well. It is that much powerful. So language translation is something which you also can do on Google. In fact, summarizing an entire book, ChatGPT can do it in seconds and minutes for you. So that is what we are talking as the power of generative AI, or one of its tools. So what kind of output you can get from ChatGPT? So when you're working on ChatGPT, it is very important that you understand that what all it can do for you. So there was a sibling model called Instruct GPT. So this had a similar context. It was able to follow an instruction in a search bar, in a prompt that you give it, and provide a detailed response. So couple of people have also claimed that it gives it too much detailing sometimes, and it just doesn't stop. It keeps giving you responses, and you somehow feel overwhelmed with the kind of responses that ChatGPT gives. But it is pretty close to how you could get accurate and appropriate responses only if you put in the right query or the right prompts to it. So that is something that should also be used, and that is what we are here for today, to actually utilize the power of ChatGPT in a more efficient manner. So talking about the architecture of ChatGPT quickly. So if we talk about, it is built on the proximal policy optimization. Okay, this transformer architecture that we use over the Hugging Face transformer is where, this is a popular library for transformers, and how it works around. We want to discuss the PPO, the 3 steps that are involved. First is your rollout, wherein you have a query. Okay, this movie is what your large language model would do. It will try to complete it. Okay, it will try to give you a decent response, say this movie, and it is completing it by saying really great. And then when you come to the step 2 process, which is your evaluation, what happens here? This works on the reward that we were talking about. So I passed on a query, and alongside with the query, I am also passing it the response. It evaluates this classifier or your human. Now we want to evaluate this query and response together based on a reward model. So we want, initially what this OpenAI team did, they had humans giving us feedback. Okay, they used AI trainers, they used humans along with the model itself. Okay, a combination of both, so that a feedback could be generated, and accordingly we want to yield a scalar value, a reward value, a positive value in terms of the query and response, that somehow based on the query a decent response is being generated. And how do you fine tune the model good enough so that it is giving you the expected response? So we go ahead with optimization. How do we, this is the most complex step. So for all of those who don't want to get into the architecture, they may skip it. But for those who are interested and are technology enthusiasts, you can understand that briefly that we use 2 models here. One is an active model, another is a reference model. So what we do, we pass this query response to both these models simultaneously, the query response pair, and then we try to calculate the log probability of the tokens. Okay, at the end of the day, everything in natural language processing works around tokens. Okay, all your speech words, they are broken down into tokens. So we try to calculate the log probabilities of these tokens in the sequence. And after that, when this is done, with the model that is being trained, okay, that the model that is already being trained, we use that and the reference model, which is a pre-trained model before fine-tuning. The reference model is still not tuned enough. So the output of this, we put and give it to the KL divergence. So this KL divergence between the two outputs, this is used alongside with a reward signal, so that with the reward signal, it is able to generate the expected response. And we are not deviating, too much from what the context of the query and responses. So that is how this active language model is then trained using your PPO. So for all those who are interested in this, you can, check out transformer reinforcement learning, wherein your human feedback is also given to be able to get to this interesting part of the ChatGPT. So there are a couple of limitations of ChatGPT, but before we talk about those limitations, let's have another polling question going forward on your prompts. Let's have a polling question. Okay. So I would like to know that what type of prompts you find are most awesome on ChatGPT. All of those who have already said they have used ChatGPT, what benefits were you able to extract in which particular field, let's say? Okay, let's check out the results. Oh, we have a mixed set of results. Some of you have used for creative writing, productivity and task management, interesting, and educational and learning prompts. So I guess we have a lot of interesting students using ChatGPT for finishing their learning journey. Okay, so yeah. So talking quickly about some limitations, you should be aware of these when you're working with GPT. You saw Niharika also showed us one of the prompts where she asked something specific around an age and all of that. So this model was trained up to data till September 2021. Now, I'm not talking about the GPT-4 model. I'm talking about the one that is released for free of use to all of us up till some time. Okay, so that is also one reason that you can set this kit onto your systems. Okay, so it is sensitive if you are giving it the same prompt multiple times. There is a chance that it will start, it starts apologizing, and then slowly it tries to, it tries to keep, it tries to guess a lot. The one problem with ChatGPT is it will keep guessing. It won't ask you for some clarifying questions. So the ideal thing would be to ask what exactly, is being queried, or if I am confused, I would say, give me an answer around it. I mean, give me, clean up your query. But your ChatGPT won't do it. It will keep trying to give you an answer. And in that process, you lose track of time. And in fact, sometimes you lose context of what query you had asked. So there has been efforts also made by the organization to, to remove or to prevent some harmful instructions, because there are some times when the ChatGPT also gives you inappropriate responses. So that is also one thing we have to look into whenever we are talking about a generative AI tool. There are some privacy and ethical concerns around it. So that is one thing. And then there is another interesting startup, Anthropic, which has created a similar, very highly anticipated bot called Claude. So you may go and explore that as well. So with this, now let us move into the kit now and check out what is the code like. Sorry. Yeah. So let's build a solution. Okay. So by now you should be able to reach this screen, and all these things would have set up for you. They just have to say yes, and the Jupyter notebook will automatically open in front of you. So this is the notebook that you should be seeing by now. Now, one important thing to note is you need your API key. So to get that API key, get onto this Git page, which I showcased you earlier. If you haven't signed up on this OpenAI platform, please do that. And once you have signed up, have an account. If you already have an account, just click on this first instruction. Go to the personal, say view API keys, create a new secret key if you have not generated till date. And very important to note, copy it here itself. Copy this key there just now, okay? Once you have copied this key, I won't generate another one, maybe, yeah, just copy this key because it's only for once that you can copy and keep it. So keep it safely and keep it safely once you have generated it, and do not share it with anyone else. If someone uses your account, then they may revoke your access, okay? Copy this key, paste this key here. I have my generated first key with me. I will copy it, paste it on the notebook. And now rerun this entire code so that I'm able to showcase the other demos as well. So let's understand what is happening in the code. So first of all, we are importing all the essential libraries. So one is for you being able to use the OpenAI's API key. We have used OS and OpenAI. Radio is used to just create the interface where you are seeing the results of your prompts. Apart from that, we have entered this key statistically here. Then it is important to give a start sequence and a restart sequence. So let me showcase you. Once we have our launch happening in the output. Okay, yeah. So what we do, we give a start and a restart sequence, and then comes in your prompt. So this prompt is what you are giving to your assistant. So it's a conversation with an AI assistant. The assistant is helpful, creative, clever, and very friendly. It is important that you define this clearly. And then accordingly, you can change this prompt also to make your bot behave in a certain way, okay? The ChatGPT that we are using, it will accordingly behave. So you can tell it is dumb, then it will start behaving dumb. So you've mentioned the characteristics, helpful, creative, clever, and very friendly. And then it can respond to human by, I'm an AI created by OpenAI. How can I help you? So it's taking some time to load. Let me just stop the kernel and reload it once again. Okay. So yeah, we then have two functions here. Let's understand this first method, which is your OpenAI create. So what we are doing here, we are actually, from here is what you are returning the expected accurate response from your model. So from OpenAI.completion.create, you have multiple parameters that you need to set. So there is one thing which is your model that you would like to load from OpenAI. This text DaVinci model 003 is the most efficient one that we are currently using. And it is pretty much close to your GPT 3.5. I mean, this in itself is a multi-model model that we are using. It's not just one, but multiple transformer models are within this, so that it is able to give you the expected response. And then whatever you're giving as a prompt variable here, that gets passed into the prompt, this which then goes to your ChatGPT. You give it a temperature, you mention the maximum tokens. This is the response that you will get, okay? The maximum tokens. Then there are other parameters like frequency penalty. So leave it as it is. Presence penalty, that also you can leave as it is. So two things you have mentioned. One is this is a conversation with a human, and the start sequence, which is your AI. So this is from where you will get the values for this. Okay. So when we return, we get a response in the actual form. Okay. So this is taking too long. I just used the notebook that was already opened for me. Okay. And with this, let us now understand this second function where we have your ChatGPT clone. So this is the method where you can see we are inputting the query as well as the history. Okay, if there is any history or any context to the conversation. So if it could be any text that is already there or an empty, text. So initially, if it is the first conversation that is happening, then it will be empty. Then we'll put it into a list, sum this history and save it in S, append it with your input that you're giving to the model, and then come up with an output response based on this function OpenAI, this method OpenAI create, to which the value will get passed on. After you get the response from this, it goes into the output, and then you get your input and output appended into this history and the previous conversation as well. So, and this is Gradio. So GR is the Gradio, and we are using the block form. So you see this representation this is in the block form. And if I just remove this query, this is the prompt. The following is a conversation with an AI agent that you were seeing earlier. Okay. So what all we are doing here, we are just giving a title to it. We are creating a text box, a button, which you can use to push and initiate the conversation with the bot, and you are returning output as the message that you have given, what state it is in, and the chatbot and its state. So let us now do some interesting prompt exercises here to see how you can efficiently use ChatGPT. So first of all, I'll just ask it a very simple question. What is the meaning of Harbinger? Okay. So it will give me, a particular meaning. This could be a very easy thing you can do from Google. But now I won't give it any context. I would just say, can you give me synonyms? Let's see for what it will give me synonyms. See, it itself understood that I am going for synonyms for the same word, and then it is giving me amazing synonyms. So it is able to retain history, and it is able to keep context. And suppose you want to write a blog post on generative AI and create your own blogs here. So 100 word blog post, or on 50, 200, 500 words. So you should be able to give it specific prompts, okay? Specific information, like 100 word or 500 word or 250 word. And then let's give this very interesting prompt where I'm asking it to create a song about a programmer and someone who isn't a programmer, okay? So let's see, every time it will create a new, new response. Let's check. So it's giving it in the form of a verse. A computer geek who types all day, his code is so precise, okay? And then you'll see verse 2. And then there's somebody who's not a programmer. She likes the tech, but it's a bit too much for her. It's trying to give you lyrics as well for the song. And something beyond this is role engineering. So this is very, very important today. So you can ask it to act as a motivational guide. You can ask it to act as a travel guide. You can ask it to act as a teacher, as an interviewer. So this is very important. Sorry. So this is very important that you actually tell it, give it a role, give your ChatGPT a role, and accordingly ask it to, guide you, help you, give you suggestions. I'll write my location. You suggest me the places to visit near, something like that. Okay. So let's say I'm in Istanbul. This is my instruction, and I want to visit only museums. So this is the first request that I have made from the model. And I want it to be acting as a travel guide. So we'll just go ahead and check out. This is my query. And then for your first request, I would suggest that you visit, it's giving me the names of interesting museums that are available, located within a few blocks of each other. It is also suggesting me some alternative city, visit. Yeah, it's giving me the option to travel by tram and all. So exactly like a human would do, it's trying to get close to that sort of experience. So this is what we want to get from your ChatGPT. I have very, interesting polling question for you guys. Based on this experience of yours, let's quickly do another poll and see what do you respond with. So I did a lot of conversations with ChatGPT. How important do you think is the privacy of your conversation? For you, with ChatGPT. You can ask it to act as a motivational coach, as a someone you can discuss your problems with as well. It will try to get close to giving you good suggestions as to how you can feel better as well. So let's see how many of you, what are your concerns regarding your conversations that you have with ChatGPT? Can we see the results, please? Yeah, so all of you understand that 73% people say that obviously if I'm making a conversation, something when you start talking to it as a person, then this will be very essential that you take into context what you are talking to it about. So yeah, that is something, that is what one of the issues with generative AI is, what data it is collecting from you and how much it should be collecting with you. So I hope you are able to build this solution with us. Let us know if you would like to have any help going further. There are amazing prompts that I have put down for you. You can ask it to act as a novelist. You can ask it to, act as a motivational guide. You can do so much more with ChatGPT. But even before that, since we move to the closing, I want to tell you that we have everything on the community platform that you see the current session on. There you can go and also get a learning enthusiast badge as well as your certifications. So for that, you have to get back to the community page. On the community page, sorry, apologies. Yeah, on this community page is where, as you scroll down, you will be able to see that there is this tutorial video. If you thought that the session was thought-provoking and you could get some interesting insights from it, you can also get a 10-minute refresher on the code, on the setup by checking out this video. Okay. So post the session, you can go and check out this 10-minute video tutorial to get yourself a refresher. You can go ahead and set up the kit also by checking out this video. And then you can go ahead and take this quiz. So this quiz is wherein you have to answer a couple of questions, and with that, you will be able to get yourself a participation certificate and an interesting badge to showcase from this session. Also, I have one interesting information. You can also go out and check various other interesting labs, which we call virtual labs, on the FSP platform by OpenViewer, wherein you can, within 60 minutes, do an interesting hands-on exercise, get yourself in, augmented reality, get yourself ahead in the journey of augmented reality, artificial intelligence. We have interesting use cases in gaming, in, let's say, analytics prediction, data analysis, in blockchain, and so much more. So yeah, you can go ahead and check out various interesting courses on FutureSkills Prime. So with that, I would open the session for Q&A.
Pooja, we have some very interesting questions on the Q&A.
Okay.
Would you like to pick those up?
Sure, absolutely.
Harika, over to you.
Okay. So
I think, Pooja, there's one interesting question where a lot of people want to know again about how you went ahead with the kit installation. So in the next maybe 2 minutes, if you can just show them how they can download the kit, extract the batch file, and approximately how long it will take for this kit to get downloaded and they can run it.
absolutely.
So that way, I think a lot of the questions are based on the kit installation, batch file extraction, as well as running it. So please go through those instructions and show them the 10-minute refresher video, which will cover all of this again.
Absolutely.
And then go ahead and take some of the other questions if you can.
Got it. Okay, so I hope you have the link for this page in the chat. If not, you
Yes,
can.
it's available even now.
Okay.
And yeah.
So go ahead and click on the link. As you scroll down, we have a hands-on learning section. So beneath this hands-on learning section, there is a Candy one-click button. Okay. Go ahead and click on it. This has your ChatGPT kit. Okay. Click on the one-click installer if you would like directly. Just quickly, say show in folder. So you know where exactly on your local machine this zip file has downloaded. Right click and say extract all. Once you have the extracted folder, okay, double click the extracted folder. You will see a batch file. Double click this batch file, say more info, and say run anyway. So since I have one of the instance already running, so
I am going to see which questions she can take.
okay. Yeah. So yes, you just have to say yes and the notebook should open for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pooja ma'am. So in today's webinar session, so we have covered the very basics of generative AI, like what is generative AI and how to use it to our best. And then we have seen how to build applications using ChatGPT and what are the hazards using ChatGPT as well. So now, participants, please put your questions in the chat, and our trainer Pooja ma'am will answer your questions.
So we have an interesting question from Adarsh Singh. He's asking, how can I create the chatbot? So I think it's a very big question. Not sure how you can answer this one in one session now. But if you could, Pooja, give him somewhere to start.
Sure. So first of all, I would just want to ask you what kind of a chatbot you are willing to build, Adarsh. If I heard the question right, Amrita, he wants to build a chatbot with ChatGPT. Is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
How can I create the chatbot?
Okay.
It's apparently giving me some errors.
Okay. So this same chatbot, ChatGPT, or a new chatbot?
I'm assuming something similar.
Okay. So if you're trying to build something similar, so again, with concepts that we had discussed today, we already have one virtual agent kit with us, wherein you see that we use the same transformer model. If you go to the Hugging Face, you will see that there are interesting transformer models available. So just pick any transformer model that you think will be appropriate. Okay. So first you need to have a know-how of NLP, natural language processing, the pipeline that is used to clear, enable your machine to understand our human language. So that's going to be step one. Start implementing your code with an NLP pipeline. Step two, push it through. Once you have cleaned the text enough, then after you have converted the text in a clean form, then you pass it through a transformer model. Let's say this time we said generative pre-trans model, but then there are other transformer models that you can simply go on Hugging Face and look for those. And then pick one of those transformer models and transform your bot to understand whatever data set you would like to work on. Let's say health for a college website, for a hospital website, something like that. Whatever application you want, you can build a simple bot with the training data. But
sure, Pooja, thank you so much. We are going over time, but we have some very existential questions like what is the purpose of ChatGPT? Not sure we can answer it, but maybe you can give the insights on what the purpose this was trying to solve for.
Okay. So if you see by now, a lot of people have asked, I am also seeing it in the chat, that how is it different from Google? So Google cannot, retain the history of the conversation. Google cannot do a conversation with you. Google search, if you would say, you have to type a query every time, and then there will be multiple search results. You have to choose what the answer is, right? With ChatGPT, it is giving you an apt response based on the prompt, the query that you have put. So I said I can create a Twitter post with the emojis, with everything. I can know places in Istanbul just by telling it, okay, I just want to know about museums. I can get a complete, blog post which is not even plagiarized. So the interesting part is with ChatGPT, even the academicians are, scared with its power. Whatever you generate through it, it is not even something that can be, captured by Turnitin, the software that is used to check flag. So I'm not suggesting to do something like that, but yeah, that's the power of ChatGPT in businesses, in all areas of artificial, not just artificial intelligence, but everyday life. Okay. So
Thank you so much, Pooja. This is amazing. Niharika, over to you.
So yes, ma'am. So yeah, you can get your certificates after you finish the quiz, like Pooja has explained it to you. And today we've covered the first session of our webinar series, and where we've learned how to use ChatGPT to build applications. In the second webinar session, which is on 20th of April, so we'll learn how to build a conversational application to convert voice into images. So don't miss it out. And the third webinar session is on 27th of April. So where we'll build deep fake applications. So we'll dive deep into the complex applications of generative AI. So don't miss out any of these webinars. If you haven't already registered, you can register as soon as possible. And all of these courses, webinar series, you get it with a certificate, and they're also free of cost. All the 3 webinars are free of cost. So thank you, everyone. I thank you, Pooja, and I really look forward to meeting you all in the next webinar on 20th. So where we'll learn about building more applications using generative AI.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.